Welcome back to Lowcountry View of Hilton Head. My name is Earl Yates. I'm your host, and of course, Naren Sharma is my guest, and we'll continue conversation. Where we left off, last you told a story about an older lady who you met that said the purpose in life was to help others. Now, enlighten me on the side of your position on World Bank. And of course, we'll get to the neighborhood outreach connection, but this is a very important thing for people to understand. When you're working for the World Bank, like you've said, in a year's time they invest almost $90 billion in different places, and you're talking about putting money into it. But here it is, you went to Duke to be inspired more and to learn more about how to help individuals on a personal basis. Now, was this a transformation that happened within the World Bank to where you didn't feel as if the most important things were being taken care of just by money, that you actually wanted to go in and learn the problem? Because your motto now at the connection is teach them how to fish. And we all know the old fable about give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach him to fish and feed him for a lifetime.
No, I think you're raising a very excellent point here. Basically, by the time I went to Duke, I had already spent about 17, 18 years in the bank. And what I saw worldwide was that economic is fine. Economic can be used as a filter to allocate resources, tackle problems and issues. But at the same time, I saw that in the political arena, decisions were made. So the political economy, which was a lot of the focus of academics and intellectual discussions in the early periods, early 1900s, even up to the Second World War, sort of separated away. We sort of used neo-economic classical framework to really make key decisions. So I got interested on the political economy side, where different stakeholders are involved, interest groups and others, who have tremendous impact on policy decisions, investment decisions. The other thing interested me was the environmental side, what I saw worldwide. People destroying environment, cutting trees, polluting rivers, industrial waste that we see. And something was not clicking right. So I felt that I needed to go on a sabbatical for a year to read on political economy and also on the environmental side, to look at the environmental consequences of policy decisions, investment decisions. If we build a road here, see how it impacts our local ecosystems here. Or if we use a lot of water, how does this impact our water basins or downstream? I mean, environmental consequences, impacts are huge. There are transboundary issues. If we as a country pollute the rivers, downstream recipient countries will face problems. Or if we have industrial pollution, or if we destroy our oceans, all this, there are a lot of global transboundary issues as well. And while I was at the bank, I wrote 2 papers. One was on the forest resources and water, bringing in different filters, the social side and the environment side. So I think it helped me sort of build myself and gave me a sort of a much broader perspective when I went back to the bank and I traveled to countries, talked to folks. I was able to use different lenses to see problems.
Now, with all that knowledge that you acquired, not only from the very beginning knowing about finance side, now you took your heart and emotions and was allowed to apply that. Now here on Hilton Head, we're blessed enough to have you with your mindset and what you've learned throughout the entire world to apply it here. So, of course, we spoke earlier and you said the most important things, of course, is family structure, education, and work base. How have you applied that within Beaufort County?
Yeah, well, one thing that I know that to empower individuals, families, and communities, you have to develop relationship and trust. Often you can go into a neighborhood, you'll talk to folks, and they are suspicious of outsiders. And for good reasons. People have come in the past, programs have not worked out, so that's the natural sort of response you get. Now, what I think we're trying to do with the Neighborhood Outreach Connection is to have a business model that pulls all the good lessons and what works to empower people. And that's what we have threaded into the Neighborhood Outreach connection as an organization. The business model that we have, our presence in the neighborhood is very critical to develop that trust relationship, what we call upstream investment. That often we have a tendency, we want to go and put money in there, and that doesn't work till you really have a set of shared values, and such as trust, respect, understanding, and a sort of a common language that you can communicate. That's when you start connecting with folks. That's when you can become successful. That's what our organization tries to do.
Well, here on Hilton Head, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Sure.
This is certainly a subject that most people are not aware of, about what you're trying to put forth, because, of course, you're speaking about the outside of the gated community. A lot of people who are very affluent and live in the gated community are not aware of some of the issues and key issues that you work on a daily basis, whether it be because they're turning their heads at it or just completely blind that it is an issue. Where are you helping right now in Beaufort County?
Yeah, I think you have a very good point here. Some of these things ought to be threaded into local planning and programming when we develop our plans, whether we're developing plans, say, in Hilton Head Island or for Beaufort County. I think some of the broader issues need to be discussed in a larger framework. What the folks don't really quite maybe understand and appreciate is the magnitude of some of these problems. For example, Beaufort and Hilton Head has very high per capita income. So folks outside, and even those who are living within here, may not realize that, my gosh, we still have poverty issues. Poverty in the county is roughly about 10 to 14% of our folks live in poverty, north of the Broad and south of the Broad. Even in Hilton Head Island, we have neighborhoods that are low-income neighborhoods. We have neighborhoods where people face hardships, lack of employment opportunities right now, multiple families living in a unit, units that are not well furnished, where the environment is not conducive to raise your kids. There are folks living in trailers here where infrastructure is not well developed. We have children now living in these neighborhoods who are majority in public schools and not meeting school standards. Now, how many times have we talked about this? We still refer to a lot of this as minority problems, problems that are associated with African Americans or Hispanic. The bottom line is we are dealing with majority now. These are the majority kids in public schools who are not meeting standards. Now, this will impact our workforce. If it impacts our workforce in terms of trained, skilled workers that we need, it means lower productivity for our local economies here, whether we're talking about Hilton Head or Beaufort County or Bluffton, or we will not be able to have the businesses that we really want to come here and invest unless we have a highly skilled, knowledgeable workforce.
Now, how would the person who lives on Hilton Head that has no idea and they just find out about the neighborhood outreach connection, how can we as citizens of Hilton Head, in Beaufort County for that matter, help the connection out?
I think this is an excellent question, and this is what we are trying to grapple with. We're trying to inform folks that what is it that Neighborhood Outreach Connection is doing, but focusing on those issues that do matter, that impacts you, myself, the local economy, and our future. And in that context, we are saying that, look, we need some capital, but our model says we can do more with less. We need volunteers. We need other organizations we can partner and leverage. Because one thing our business model says is we can leverage through partnership, and that's what we have done with the Beaufort County School District, by becoming partners with them so that we can have greater impact on the education sector, the type of problems that we are talking about. We would like that partnership to emerge with the business side as well. I think the business sector has stake here when we talk about education. If they're not going to have trained, skilled, knowledgeable workforce, we are not going to be competitive in this 21st century. That's a bottom line. We can develop fancy plans, talk about it, and then put it on the shelf. But the bottom line is those things are not going to happen unless we tackle some of these problems realistically. So obviously, I think, first we should acknowledge, we should not base ourselves in the fact that the glass is half full, and we talk about that glass that is half full.
Yes.
We need to talk about the other side because it's going to impact all of us. Leave alone the social cost. I'm not even talking about it.
Yes. Well, Mr. Sharma, Dr. Sharma, I should say.
No, you called me by my first name. You're
Naren,
pronouncing
absolutely.
it so well.
Well,
yes, yes.
thank you. It's been very inspiring just to know that until we've met right now, I haven't had the pleasure of knowing of it, exactly what you did and how you help in the community, and it's a fantastic thing. And I urge everyone else to look into yourself and also look into the Neighborhood Outreach Connection. And of course, Naren Sharma, he's the chairman. And find out what you can do, because this benefits not only the connection when you help, but it also benefits our community. So thank you very much for visiting. I hope you've learned as much as I have. I'm sure I'm going to have Naren back on again, and we'll speak and you'll learn. So thank you for watching Lowcountry View of Hilton Head. My name is Earl Yates and Naren Sharma. Have a good night.